So if you're wondering what makes me qualified to share with you this information, well, I have been in your shoes. In 2017, I lost my job, and it was like I went home one evening, I had a 3-year contract, and the next morning I didn't have a job. But today, 3 years later, I am grateful to God that I eventually went back to the job market, and I'm going to share with you the 5 different tips that I learned that you can use to get a job quickly, especially if you have been retrenched or you have been laid off, because these tips work differently for maybe somebody who is looking for a job for the first time or something like that. But today I'm focusing specifically on somebody who has been laid off or has been retrenched. How do you quickly go back to the job market? Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad that you are watching. If you're new to the channel, my name is Eva Mtali and I am excited to have you here. For my return audiences, thank you very much for supporting me. So the number one strategy that you need to apply to get a job fast, especially after a retrenchment or after a layoff, is to look at the skills that you already possess, look at the experiences that you have, look at your passions and see how you can leverage them and repackage them for your next job search. Look at your experience, look at your skill set, as well as your industry and community knowledge, and ask yourself, how can you position yourself for this particular industry outside of your core skill set? So right now, for instance, because of COVID, so many organizations suddenly find themselves moving to the online world for the first time. People are trying to navigate remote working, how to even do simple things like Zoom. They are trying to navigate aspects such as how to manage a project virtually and all this kind of work. So if, let's say, I was admin assistant or I was a receptionist in my previous job that I was laid at, I can be able to reposition myself as a virtual assistant because I know how to do admin work, and I also have my computer skills. So when I marry the two, admin plus my computer savviness, I get my virtual assistant's skill set, and this is something that I can sell to somebody. Or if, let's say, I was a receptionist, I can be able to reposition myself as a virtual event planner. So just look at your existing skill set, look at your industry knowledge, look at your education, and see how you can combine these 3 aspects of your life and come up with a service proposition for your next employer or business that you're going to work for. So as much as there's a crisis going on, there's been a pandemic, there's this assumption that no one is hiring. Honey, my own organization hired 5 people in the last 2 months, and my own personal company, I have been looking for a videographer. So as much as the pandemic is going on, there are other industries that are still expanding. So you really have to watch out for opportunities and not just focus on the industry that you are in and just on the job that you used to do before. Try to widen your horizons and also just check out what other places are open. And it may take a lot of time before somebody gets back to you, but the fact that somebody advertised for a job, it means they have a vacancy. And by not trying, you're gonna lose like 100% of any chances that you had. So it's better to just keep trying. It's gonna take a while, but you're gonna have to be really patient. And don't just look at newspapers. Check organizations' websites. There are organizations that don't advertise for their jobs in the newspaper. Check at LinkedIn, for instance. And the beauty with LinkedIn, it allows you to even narrow by location, or if you just want like global, or you want remote working, or you want online, like it allows you to filter by all those. Alternatively, just make Google your friend. You can actually take advantage of Google's alert system and let Google alert you. So if, let's say, I'm looking for a digital finance consultancy, I'll just ask Google, I'll just add to my alerts every time that word appears on the internet, then Google will send me an alert. The number 3 strategy that you can use if you have been retrenched or laid off to get a job quickly is to reach out to your previous employers. And this especially happens if you are in good terms with your former employees or your former colleagues or your former bosses. Then this really comes valid. So in my case, for instance, I used to work for an NGO, and because they don't cut funding, that's why we're laid off. But as soon as I learned that there was new funding and the organization advertised, I applied for a job, and by the grace of God, I was hired back. So do not overlook your former employer. Keep checking their websites. I actually learned of this position by checking the organization's website. Follow them on their social media profiles, because most organizations will advertise for jobs through their platforms as well. So do not overlook this avenue, and always keep in touch with key people in your organizations. Let them know that you are looking. Let them know that you are open to other positions in the organization. So in my case, for instance, the position that I came in is different from the one that I left in. So just be really flexible and let people know that you are available. The number 4 strategy you want to use, especially if you've been laid off or you've been retrenched and you're trying to get a job quickly, is to leverage your networks. And here, when I'm talking about networks, I'm talking about like literally every person you have acquaintance with. Let people know that, hey, Eva is out here and I'm currently looking for opportunities. And it helps to be more specific with what kinds of opportunities that you are looking for. So it makes it easier for people to put you in their radar. So if, let's say, I let my networks know that I'm looking for any openings in monitoring and evaluation, for instance. So every time they see an opening in monitoring and evaluation, they'll always think of me. Unlike a situation where I tell them, okay, I'm just open for anything, like that's really wide and it's far-fetched, and it makes it really difficult for people to keep you top of mind. The other thing you want to do is have a clear selling point, like I've already mentioned. Let people know exactly what are you looking for. Are you looking for a consultancy position? Are you looking for a full-time job? Are you looking for a tender opportunity? Like, just make it really clear so that people know how to refer you. You also want to make your information very easy to share. So maybe you could pass out your CV and make it really clean and short and nice, short and sweet. And you want to make sure your LinkedIn profile is up to date with all the information that somebody might need. Let it have clear profile picture. And also you want to make sure that you have your social media profiles are also up to date. Yeah, remember, the internet never forgets, right? So you don't want people to be wanting to share information about you, but your profiles are saying things that are totally different from who you claim to be. The number 5 strategy, especially if you've been retrenched or you have lost your job and you're trying to get another job quickly, is to take advantage of professional Facebook groups. Yes, I said it, Facebook. So Facebook is not just for chit chat. There's tons of Facebook groups which have professionals, and there's a lot of professional conversations going in them. And one that I recently stumbled on is African Women in Leadership. The group is less than a week old, but it currently has more than 200,000 members. So obviously we are going to have jokers on these Facebook groups, but you should stay focused. If your reason for joining the Facebook group is to get a job, then you really have to stay focused. And this goes hand in hand with the point number 4, is if you are going to use social media as one of your avenues to find jobs or to find opportunities, you want to make sure that your profile is something that, in the event that one of the people that you're trying to talk to landed on your profile, that they would not have question marks. So for instance, let's say I join the African Women in Leadership Facebook group, and there's tons of high profile women in the group, so you might want to check it out if you haven't yet. And I find somebody on the platform and they are in a field or in an organization that I have been eyeing, and maybe I reach out to them, and I'm fortunate that they decide to reach back to me. Obviously, if they don't know me, the first thing they will want to do is to check out my profile. So you want to make sure that when you're out there trying to get your job and you're trying to get it really quickly, you want to make sure that your Facebook profile or your Instagram profile speaks to the kind of job that you are looking for. You don't want to be the person who's having all these social media wars on one hand, and on the other hand, you're trying to look for a job as a mediator, for instance, right? The number 6 strategy or tip that you can use to find a job quickly, especially if you have been retrenched or laid off, is to upskill yourself. And what I mean by upskill yourself is to find a course that you can do to add extra experience to your CV. Don't just stay with your existing skills or your experiences. With all these free online courses everywhere, you may want to check out something that takes maybe like a month or 2 months to get to learn the skills and to get certified. And then with this additional certification in your CV, it increases your chances of being hired for a job, and it just widens your employment pool. So for example, in this video up here, I have talked about how you can make money online with free Google certification. So you can, for example, if you are in I don't know, accounting for instance, you can decide to upskill yourself, get Google certified as a Google Ads specialist, and then you can add, in addition to your accounting skills, you can add digital marketing as your new expertise. Well, those are the 5 tips that I think you can use, especially if you have been laid off or you have been retrenched and you're trying to find a job fast. If you know anyone who could benefit from this video, well, make use of the share button below. And if you like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please remember to hit the subscribe button and then hit the notification bell as well, so that every time I shoot a new video, you will be the first person to know. Thank you for staying up to the very end, and I'll look forward to meeting you on the next one.